Welcome to the Movies of the Damned podcast. My name is Kyle Grant, and I'm sitting here, as always, with my friend and published horror author, John Hunt. If you enjoy what you hear here today, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our Facebook page, and follow us on both Instagram and Twitter, @DamnedMovies. Email us any questions, comments, and suggestions to moviesofthedamned@gmail.com. For further details on John's published works, please visit his blog, johnhuntfiction.wordpress.com. Today, we'll be discussing Jeff Nichols' 2011 film, Take Shelter. Curtis lives with his wife Samantha and daughter Hannah when he begins having apocalyptic dreams and hallucinations and becomes convinced that a massive deadly storm is coming. He then becomes obsessed with improving and enlarging his storm shelter in the backyard, causing him to take out a large, risky home improvement loan, miss work, and borrow equipment from work, ultimately leading to him being fired. After only a small regular storm hits, Curtis believes then he is suffering from paranoid schizophrenia like his mother and begins seeing a psychiatrist. However, the film ends with Curtis being proved correct as a huge deadly storm closes in on the family. John, opening thoughts on the movie?
Who told us to watch this one? Do you remember?
So with this one, if I'm racking my brain here, I don't believe that anyone kind of reached out and suggested this one to us. I was kind of just scrolling through some different titles on Shudder, and I kind of came across it because I like this main actor, and now his name's escaping me, Michael Shannon.
That's
correct.
Right? That's correct.
I've kind of always liked him, and I saw it, and then I kind of looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, oh, this got really good reviews. So then I kind of threw it your way. You're like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it might have been suggested, so it wasn't. It's just something that you found.
Yeah, I just kind of stumbled across, and then when I see a horror movie with good reviews, I'm such a sucker for that.
Well, of course, because it's rare.
Yeah,
that a horror movie gets good reviews. So for sure. So I'm a fan of Michael Shannon as well. Sure. Right? Yeah, Boardwalk Empire. He was great in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Superman fan, right? So he was in Man of Steel. He was Zod.
Okay. What? I didn't realize that actually.
Yeah, he was Zod in that film, and so I was like, cool. I'm excited, and he's just a good actor. He's a good actor, right? So he's good to watch.
I think he's a versatile actor too.
Definitely.
Like a lot of different roles.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. He could be like the average guy, or he could be the exceptional guy, or he could be the
tough guy.
Yeah, the religious nut guy, like whatever, right? He does very well no matter what he applies himself to. So I like watching him for sure. And then there's Jessica Chastain, and I was like, sweet.
Top level actress.
Right?
Like
she's
one of the
great.
best in the game right now.
Right? She was in It, right? Like she's fun to watch. She's good to watch. And she also knows what she's doing. So I was like, cool. And then the movie starts and you're watching it, and the visuals are good. Everything seems well. Everything seems good. So it was a very slow burn, though.
It was very, very slow, and kind of my first impression is, but I was very interested the entire time I was into this. I'm like, where's this going?
Yeah, so
but it was very, very slow, and then the payoff at the end really wasn't that exciting.
No, I would agree with that. So I was watching it, and I was like, once again, I totally agree with you. I was interested the whole time.
Great I wasn't acting. Checking my watch.
Yeah, great acting, great directing. Cinematography was good. Like, it was very interesting to watch for sure. And there's some concepts being played over and over and being built upon, and you're watching this progression. There was a progression. It wasn't static, and it was interesting to watch and all that stuff. I just think it took too long to get to that.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was a little long, and then like you said, to get to that.
Yeah.
To just, yep, there's a storm. You're right.
Yeah.
Your mental health isn't crumbling like we thought. You're actually correct.
Yeah.
Movie
So,
over.
There's a lot of stuff like that, right? So, so throughout the film, and that's fine. There's a natural progression. So the first time he had a vision, he was outside, and it was the first time that the rain comes and he's feeling the rain, right?
It's like motor oil almost.
Yeah, so
eh?
it's different, obviously, right? It's different than what he normally feel in the rain or whatever. And that's the only time that his daughter wasn't with him.
In all those visions?
In all the visions. The rest of the time, his daughter was with him in the rest of his visions.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
What about the one with, remember when Jessica Chastain is finally in his vision when she's in the kitchen and there's the knife there? Was the daughter in that one? Or am I misremembering?
I think the daughter was in every one,
Okay.
but I could be totally wrong too.
Fair enough.
But I remember looking at it afterwards going, okay, well, because I thought it made sense to me anyways, because that's the biggest danger to him, right? Is, as a parent, your biggest weakness and strength is your children, right? So
because you have to do everything you can to protect them.
right? So like that's going to be your monumental fear, right? So I understood that concept, and then every other time throughout the film, it was raining, and there would be that weird rain, so you knew it was a vision, you knew it wasn't real. And then he starts to change his behavior. You didn't really see what he was like before, but his reaction, the reaction of his wife and his daughter to him, you knew there was a change in his behavior.
Yeah, you did know there was a change in his behavior, but his wife, Jessica Chastain, was very passive. And I did have a bit of an issue with that. Like, so you have this family dog that they've had for years.
Yeah.
And then so he has that vision of the dog attacking him, which terrified me, actually. We'll come back to that. And then just all of a sudden, he builds a dog house and puts up kind of chicken wire, and now it's an outside dog, and the wife is just like, cool.
No, she did ask him about it.
She asked him about it, but like, my wife, your wife, wouldn't go for that. Like,
well, my wife would ask for more of an answer.
Yeah.
Right? So, but he did get short with it, right? So it's like, I don't know if she just wanted to, like, it's one of those things where we don't know what the relationship really is. So it's like, you want to look at it like, what battles are you going to pick? Right?
Yes.
So, no, I don't know, right? Because you didn't really show that, right? So,
but I'm just going off the fact that they showed early on that this was like a family dog. Like, that dog is in the house with them. It's the daughter's, Hannah is like feeding it from the table.
Yeah,
and
she made a point of saying that too. Like, this dog has always been an inside family dog. Why is it now outside?
Yeah, and then it's just like, it's my dog. We're putting it outside. I just thought that was kind of strange.
Yeah, so I understand why though, right? So like, for two reasons. So you don't want to push that storyline ahead yet, because he doesn't want to tell anyone what he's seeing.
Yeah, because he's wondering if he's going crazy or not.
Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't want to share that with his wife. He doesn't want to share that with anyone, right? So even if she pushed him as hard as we think that normally someone would push, we don't know what his reaction would have been, right? We don't know if he would have told her or anything like that. So from what I get from the whole movie, it had to get pretty bad before he actually disclosed what he thought was coming.
Because he knew people would look at him like he was crazy.
For sure.
And then just going back to the scene where the dog attacks him, like, that stuff always freaks me out, because I think we've like fooled ourselves into believing that like dogs are just like, oh, they're just parts of the family. No, these are animals. And if a dog turned on you, it would do some serious damage to you.
For sure. But here's the thing about dogs, right? So we know through evolution and all that type of stuff that we've kind of changed wolves into these dogs over
made them more and more docile over the generations.
Just made them our buds.
Yeah.
Right. So if a dog does turn on you, it's for usually a very good reason, or you're a bad owner.
I guess I just mean that these dogs have the physical capabilities to mess you up.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And your children.
Yeah.
Right. So that's absolutely a valid fear. Right. I did have a problem with, like, if you have a dream that your dog attacks you and then you put him in the backyard, like, I don't know if I'd go that far, but once again, I'm not that character, right? So it's just like, because that's, for all those years that dog's been inside and been your bud, and then...
I guess he just felt it was more of a dream, because remember he said that, like, it took a full day for his arm to feel better? Like
Yes.
his arm felt like it had been like mauled or attacked
Yes,
for a full
that's
day.
a good point.
And you saw him like rubbing it at work and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
No.
maybe that added to it.
I'd say that's a good point. That would make it more real for him and make the situation in which he puts up a fence like that more valid, right? So
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that he feels he needs to do. I don't even know what to say about this film though. Like I wouldn't call it a bad film.
It's not a bad film,
Yeah.
but it's one of those films where you're gonna watch it, you're gonna be interested, then the ending's gonna hit, and you're gonna be like, meh, and you will never watch it again.
Yeah.
There would never be a reason to watch this twice.
No, I know, and that's what I mean. Like the progression itself was like, it was a good progression, right? So it showed like his dreams getting worse and worse, and then him and his behavior escalating in proportion to how often and how more violent the dreams were getting, right? So he steals equipment from work to help with the bomb shelter. It's gas mask stuff, like everything escalating. He puts his whole family's financial future at risk because he believes in this so much, right? And that's
And he knows he put his job at risk.
yeah,
Because he knows you can't just borrow this large equipment from work.
for sure. He got in a fight with his best friend over it,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you can't do this, and you can't do that. But he thought this risk was worth it, right? So he believed in these visions, and he still couldn't tell anyone about it. He couldn't share it. So it was once again very well acted. Like I didn't at any point where it's like I didn't feel like it was poorly done in any way. I guess it's one of those movies where it's like I don't know how. I wouldn't tell anyone to watch it, and I wouldn't tell anyone not to watch it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be like, this is garbage. You also wouldn't be like, this is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Speaking though to what you're just talking about like expanding the shelter, like he didn't even need to do that.
No.
Okay, you have these dreams that a storm is coming. You already had a storm shelter out there.
Yeah.
Just really spruce it up and make it better.
Yeah.
I think I almost would have liked it better if he didn't have a storm shelter to begin with and he had to build one. But like, I just didn't feel like he needed to take out the loan. He needed to build the new one and borrow the equipment from work. Like there was no real need for that. He could have just spruced up what he already had.
Well, the only thing that I thought that was necessary, but once again, I'm not like a survivalist, so I wouldn't really know. But he put in the air filters,
Yeah.
right? So like, that's good. That's a good idea. I don't know if he could have done that over the area that he already had though.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either, right? So, I would agree. But once again, they're trying to show how far this guy's willing to go, not to validate, to feel better about his dreams, about what he believes is coming,
Yeah.
and what he can't tell other people he believes is coming.
Well, because you're between a rock and a hard place, right? Because
Yeah.
as we always already discussed, like when you have children, when you have a family, like it's your duty to protect them.
Mhm.
And so he's like, he thinks he's going crazy, but then he's like, what if I'm not? I need to keep everybody safe.
Yeah,
So it's a tough spot to be in almost.
it's a gamble, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't really know either way.
And then the best, well, not the best part, but the thing that kind of made me chuckle at the end is that he ends up being right. But because he thought he was going mentally ill, they go on the vacation, and now they don't even have this storm shelter to protect them.
I don't know where they are.
They were down in, I can't remember what they said. I want to say Myrtle Beach. Or
Yeah, it was like it was
something
somewhere far from home where
Yeah.
they. Yeah, I know. I thought that was pretty funny too. But I also found like your comment about the wife earlier was very interesting, where you said she was passive. I did make a note here saying she put up with a lot of crap.
Oh
right?
yeah.
From what he was doing, right? Like taking that loan out and doing that equipment, losing his job with the great benefits that could help their daughter, right? Like I was just like, wow, she's putting up with a lot of
It
crap.
was almost like their relationship was like, he's the man, he's the head of this family, he makes the decisions, and I am by his side, type of thing, like that, right?
I don't know. I don't know if it was more that. I just because she didn't really defer to him. She didn't really, say he would say something and that would be it. It would just
Yeah.
because she did question him on it. She did ask him questions. So I wouldn't say it was necessarily that. I was just like,
But she knew not to push things. Like you remember
Yeah.
when he woke up and he had wet the bed,
yeah,
and I think she was going to church maybe.
Yep.
And she came over to see him, and he's like, "Stay back" or something like that. Like if I
Yeah.
said that to my wife would be like, "No, I'm not staying back. What's going on here?" Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah. I know, and it's also one of those things like, so what would,
It just didn't feel regular to me.
yes,
At least to what I'm used to.
yeah. So and that's we talked about this before, projecting your expectations for relationships on other people, right? You just don't know, right? So it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't know what would, if my wife said to me, because you also got to trust them.
That's true.
If my wife said to me, don't come over here, it really makes me uncomfortable if you were to come over here, I'd be like, okay, I'm not coming over there. I'd be like, can we talk about it later though?
Yeah,
or is this
yeah,
something
yeah.
that we need to discuss? Like, this is not normal, and I'm worried for you because I care for you,
Yeah.
right? But I'm not going to be like, well, I'm coming over there, right? Because
I'm gonna figure this out,
right? Because
fair
you know what I
fair
mean.
enough.
So it's like you don't want to invade her space. If she's in a vulnerable spot, you don't want to invade anyone's space when they're in a vulnerable spot, right?
No,
so
I hear you.
So that's I don't really have too much an issue with that. Like I don't have an issue with any of this movie. So that's kind of the strange thing. It's because like, but I don't care about it. I think that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
Like for me, anyways. Like I don't care. I
And
don't care if I didn't see it.
And I think the reason why you don't care is because, like we said, and because we've seen so many slow burn movies before that we've loved, but there wasn't a huge payoff at the end.
And another thing is like, so
it's like, and you're right, that maybe I don't care is the best way to describe it, because like, oh look, there is a big storm. He was correct. Yeah, I don't really care.
And it's one of those things. It's also odd. I know they're only focusing on this one family, and I don't really know statistics on visions or group visions or whatever they are. So I can't really comment on it with any real knowledge. So I'm just more like, why was just he getting the visions? Right? Why was it only one person?
Yeah, because you would think if it was like a vision from God, he'd want to pick someone who was like a follower of his, where this fellow didn't even go to church.
Yeah, there was some underlying religious tones, right? But at the same time, it was never like, it was more like,
remember her family came over and her dad was like on his case that he's not going to church.
Well, yeah,
right?
I didn't see you at church this morning, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's like someone's like, shh, and he's like, I'll be quiet when we see him at church or something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
It was silly, right? Like,
yeah.
If you want to go to church, go to church. Like, you're not, don't
to each their own.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Like, you're not going to badger another adult about what they want to believe in, right? Like, leave them alone.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But but it was just kind of funny. So, like, I was thinking, like, if I couldn't imagine anyone saying that to me.
Yeah, like exactly. In my house at my own table, right? It's like with family though, you do put up with some things,
For
but
sure,
it
family
just
says
like,
some weird stuff, right? So
yeah, it's like, well, can we enjoy our brunch? Like,
yeah, let's not talk about something that we both won't agree on.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So
just to rewind for a second, and you kind of already brought it up that like when we saw the actors in this, we were kind of excited. I got super excited when this movie started, and I saw who the second male lead was. Did you recognize him?
No.
So his buddy, who he kind of worked on the crew with, Boardwalk Empire again.
Oh, okay.
He was Nucky's brother, Sheriff Eli.
I didn't really watch that show.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I watched a few episodes of it,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is really good because I knew some of the actors in it.
Fantastic series.
Yeah. But I don't watch a lot of TV.
No, for sure. But I as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, these two are reunited. This is gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah.
But then it led to some issues, and
Okay.
it had to do not with the acting. They were both outstanding actors.
Yeah.
Their sizes. Michael Shannon was like 2 feet taller than this other actor.
Yeah.
So it led to a little bit of an awkwardness. Remember in the kind of, I can't remember what it was. It was like a Lions Club dinner.
Yeah,
or
where they're
something.
fighting.
When the fight started, and I'm like, well, we have a guy who's 2 feet taller fighting a small. It just looked a little weird.
It looked a little. Well, he didn't want to fight his friend, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, he was giving his friend some leeway, right?
Yeah.
So.
But then I thought that was maybe it then turned into, after the fight was over, one of the best scenes of the movie.
Yes.
When he has like completely lost touch with reality and starts just like screaming, almost like, I want to describe him kind of like a religious zealot, just like, beware, the storm's coming and you don't know anything. I'm like, oh wow, this is wild.
That's what I mean with the wife putting up with a lot of crap,
and then
right?
and then her and the daughter go and hug him.
Yeah.
But I guess the daughter didn't know what was going on. Just that dad was acting weird.
Well, maybe like I would have been fine with them hugging him there and so, hey, honey, it's okay, and then leaving there going, okay, let's go to the hospital. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hug. Yeah, no, we're prepared. Okay, let's go for a drive, right? And then so kind of I just mentioned her, the daughter Hannah.
Yep.
What was the point of her being deaf? I guess it added a little bit to the story because it added to the stress that when he was fired, her implant wasn't going to get paid for.
I think that was mostly
that was it.
Yeah, mostly it. And well, it escalated his behavior,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So like, if you're having visions and the only things that are at risk are you and maybe your wife, maybe you're not as worried, right? Maybe you're not as keen to believe in these things that if they might be true, it's bad for everyone, right? I find children and vulnerable children just add a level of attention to the story that otherwise
Oh,
wouldn't
okay.
be there.
So she was just a little bit more vulnerable since she was deaf.
I don't even know if I don't know. I wouldn't say so, because I know
Okay.
the deaf community is like, they're pretty tight. They're pretty, this is who I am, deal with it type thing. So I would say that they're more vulnerable. I think it goes back to what you were saying with like, this is an escalating progression. He knew what was at risk by taking this equipment home. He knew he could lose his job. He knew all this type of stuff, but he did it anyways because he believed the storm was coming.
Yeah.
So I think it just added to his commitment to these visions, right? So I think the movie was just trying to be a little clever with more like, okay, well, is he going crazy or is this real? Is he going crazy and is this real? So with the scene at the bomb shelter at the very end, and he's like demanding they all wear the masks and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, she's like saying, no, there's nothing out there. It's all good. And he comes outside and there's no storm. And so if he was, losing his mind or having some mental health issues or whatever the case may be, they would have hugged him and the movie would have ended. But when it didn't end, I'm like, okay, well, the visions are real.
Oh, there's gonna be a storm.
Yeah, right. There's definitely.
I didn't know there was gonna be one or there wasn't gonna be one. I didn't know where the movie was going.
Well, at that point, there's no reason for the movie to continue. The whole part of the movie was him losing touch with reality, doing things he shouldn't be doing, putting his family's financial future at risk because he has this belief in the storm, right? So that was the catalyst. That was the big plot point in this film. So when that plot point was resolved, if it would have been resolved when they realized there was no storm, and it was, if the movie ended when there was no storm when they came out, that plot point would have been resolved, and there's no reason for the movie to continue.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
because it continued, I was like, okay, well, the storms are real.
And so you saw that coming.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of weird too. Like, I didn't really understand Jessica Chastain's point when she's like, you have to be the one to open the door. Like, he's going to see either way that this storm wasn't this deadly storm. You know what I mean?
Yes, but it's. I think I didn't have a problem with that either, because I think it's more of a buy-in, right? So it's like she's saying, look, I don't hear it, I don't feel it on the door, there's nothing there. If you don't open it, because he's saying that there was.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you don't open it now, you'll be, and then so let's go to your point. So say he opens it and there's no storm there and everything's fine. Well, then the potential there, she thought, I guess, from her character standpoint, would have been like, okay, you're not going to buy in. You're going to say, well, okay, it wasn't today, but it's coming. It's coming tomorrow.
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
She needed him to admit, no, everything's fine.
Yeah,
I need to open the
even
door.
because he was convinced that he heard something outside and he felt something against the door.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So once those illusions are gone, and then there's everyone around him acting all fine, then there's that buy-in, and he might be able to
Then
put
he
it
might be
behind
able to
him.
move past. And I was actually glued to the screen during that scene because at one point a thought popped in my head. I'm like, is he gonna hurt them?
Mm.
Like, I thought for a second he might, like, oh, you're gonna go out there, no, and then like hurt his family. I thought that might be where the movie was going for a second.
So I didn't see that. I didn't see that as a potential thing. I saw him blocking the door.
Okay, just not letting them out.
Yeah, I saw that, but I wouldn't, because of his whole behavior throughout the whole movie. That didn't occur to me at all.
Okay. One thing I wanted to ask you about too, and this was one point in the movie that I didn't understand. So, his buddy, and I'm sorry I can't remember the actor's name, who worked on his crew, is also from Boardwalk Empire, helps him on that weekend kind of dig out the hole with the equipment from work. And then Michael Shannon goes and asks to have him moved off the crew. Why?
I don't know. I think it was more.
Like,
I would agree
because like, if you do something sneaky with someone and they back you up, don't you want to keep them tight?
That's what I mean. So I found that odd as well. So I found that strange as well, only because what ended up happening is that because he was asked to be removed from his crew, that's when the boss found out about it.
Exactly.
Right? So, yeah, I didn't understand that part at all.
Okay, good. I thought I
was-
missed something. I thought I missed some key plot plot point or something like that.
It could have been like, all I can say is like, when you do something you shouldn't do and you feel guilty about it.
And seeing him would remind him.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I could think of, but it wasn't like he did a terrible thing, right? Maybe it was more, maybe he was worried that he put his friend's job in jeopardy as well. So if he distanced himself from his friend, then maybe his friend wouldn't be a part of it. So it'd be all on him. I don't even know.
Yeah, confusing.
It wasn't clear for sure.
And that was one confusing part of this movie. One thing I'll say about this movie, it was interesting, as I've said many times.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't seen it yet, if you're a big horror fan, really at no point was this ever scary.
No.
I guess the one vision, remember when he's in the car with his daughter and like, I want to call them like zombies almost reach in to the car.
I don't
but
even know.
That wasn't even that scary.
I think it was just people trying to take the car because he had the only car.
Something like that. So
I don't know.
this isn't going to be one that scares you, but it is interesting. Rotten Tomatoes. Critics score 92%.
Okay.
Audience score 81.
Okay.
But
So
you know
maybe
what?
we're missing something here.
No, John, I don't think we are. Like,
What's the audience score numbers?
sorry, I didn't see
Okay.
how many people did it, but
Okay.
just hear me out here. Like,
Yeah.
I would give this a thumbs up. If you said, is this a good or a bad movie, above or below 50, I will give it above 50%.
It's above 50, yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe that's what these critics are saying. Like 92% of people, they would have scored it a 55, a 60.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And I doubt people would be scoring this in the 90s. I'm for sure not scoring this in the 90s.
No.
I'm probably around the 60 mark.
Well, that's what I said. Like, I don't care about this movie, but I don't... it wouldn't matter to me if I never saw it. That's the type of film it is. But once again, like, the acting and the directing was great. It was fine. And you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff was good. It was just missing a key element.
I guess I'm just more surprised with the audience score.
Yeah.
I thought the audience score would have been one of those movies where the critics all give it a thumbs up and the audience is like, that wasn't scary, that was boring, like throw it out, right?
It might have been. It might have been like the audience was happy with the realization that he was right in the end.
Yeah,
that's
I
about
guess
it,
so.
right? Because it did end on a good note.
Yeah,
right?
and I guess there's like no like gore that would turn some people off or things like that. So maybe. Budget for this movie made pretty cheap, $4.75 million.
Yeah.
Made $5 million at the box office,
Mhm.
so a bit of a return. And then it's streaming right now on Shudder, our favorite streaming service.
That's right.
So check it out there if you want to take a look. Other than that, buddy, anything else to add on this one?
No, I have nothing.
Well, folks, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and follow us on both Twitter and Instagram at Damn Movies. If we want to hear your thought of today's podcast and any suggestions you have, especially in terms of what movies you'd like us to discuss next, send us an email to moviesofthedamned@gmail.com. Please also check out John's full-length novels. His first two novels, Dollhouse and The Tracker, are Amazon bestsellers. You can also order his novella Balance and his book of short stories, 4 Shots of Horror, on Amazon as well. His newest full-length novel, Off the Grid, is available on Amazon right now as well. For further details on John's other published works, please visit his blog, johnhuntfiction.wordpress.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
That's right, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either one of us about my books or about the podcast. Whatever you want to ask, we're here. But other than that, have a great week and be kind to everyone.